Hey, Shalom, Yashala. Before we get started with this lesson, let's give the much due all phrases, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWAHSHI, BARAK, QaDash, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BARAK, QaDash. Shalom to the Lord's elect, the 144,000 elect men, 12,000 from each of the tribe of Israel, which consists of the so-called African American men, so-called West Indian black men, so-called Haitian men, so-called Hispanics, Latinos, Spanish-speaking tribe men, so-called Native American Indian men, so-called Seminole Indian men, and Israelite foreigner men, which are Hebrew Israelites who just look like the other nations, speaking their languages, scattered in the midst of them worldwide. But based off the pedigree, the bloodline of your biological father, it goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are a Hebrew Israelite. Shalom to the rest of the multitude, the other believing Israelites. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone. And much due respect to you, sincere Akim, that's laboring in the works. I'm your brother Monazar Gabar, out here in Pasadena, Texas. Lord willing, this lesson on pestilence will be edifying, plain upon the tables. So this is from theimportantnews.com. Okay, theimportantnews.com. All right. The WHO, World Health Organization, the WHO, got their new quote-unquote pandemic treaty just in time for the great pestilences that are rapidly approaching. The World Health Organization got their new pandemic treaty just in time for the great pestilences that are rapidly approaching. And this article was uploaded on May 21st, a few days ago, 2025. All right, I'm gonna read a little bit. In secret labs all over the planet, researchers are playing around with the deadliest diseases that humanity has ever known. In some cases, the goal is to make those diseases even more deadly and even easier to spread, right? So to make plagues become very dangerous, right? Let me get that word. Oh shit! So like Amazon, what the hell? Let me get that word plague real quick. The definition. Plague. Let's see. Plague definition. Let's see. This is one definition that I really like. Here we go. This is the one I want to get right here. This is the definition I want to get for the word plague right here. A contagious disease that spreads rapidly and kills many people. So a disease that can spread very fast and delete many people. All right. Let's see. In secret labs all over the planet, researchers are playing around with the deadliest diseases that humanity has ever known. In some cases, the goal is to make those diseases even more deadly and even easier to spread. If a terrorist organization or one of our enemies really wanted to create complete and utter chaos in our society, releasing a weaponized disease in a heavily populated area would be one of the easiest ways to do that. A bomb could kill hundreds or even thousands of people, but a highly infectious pestilence could spread like a wildfire all over the country and potentially kill millions of Babylonians, aka Americans. If you believe that the Iranians, the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese, and radical Islamic terror groups all over the globe would never do such a thing because they are such decent people, you have a much higher view of humanity than I do. Of course, it wouldn't necessarily take a large organization to pull off such an attack. These days, just a handful of people could cook something up and release it into our society if they knew what they were doing. We have seen extraordinary advancements in the field of biotechnology over the past several decades. Experiments that once took enormous resources to pull off can now be conducted by a group of college kids working in a basement. Hey, knowledge shall increase, right? Okay, we definitely in them times, man. You got people nowadays that can create weapons, man, and just in their garage. Okay, I've seen videos in the past how there's people that's creating their own homemade Iron Man like suits that can literally release concentrated heat beams, lasers out of their hands like Iron Man. I've seen videos what it looked like, I think it was a group of Chinese college students who in their garage created what it looked like those Nerf guns, you know, like the toy guns, like you shoot and like it's sticky on the tip of the foam gun so you can stick onto things. I think Nerfs, right? What they did was they managed to build their own remote control cars that can drive at a very high speed, and attached to such remote control vehicles or cars is mounted with like a mini gun, like a mini Nerf gun that shoots really fast, like do, right? This is just Nerf guns. How much more, or what are people really doing behind their garages, behind closed doors that's not funded by nobody? They just have the wisdom, the knowledge to know how to make such things, man. All right, how much more these professional, I guess you could say, evil scientists nowadays that has the wisdom and knowledge on how to create man-made deadly pestilences, man. Okay, that's being funded by the wicked elites to create such things, man. All right. So yeah, man. It says experiments that once took enormous resources to pull off can now be conducted by a group of college kids working in a basement. All right. Let's see. We are far more vulnerable. America is definitely vulnerable because America is also known as a city, like the unwalled village, a city without gates. Just paraphrase it if a brother know what I'm talking about. The scripture goes into that. All right. And America is very, very vulnerable, man. We are far more vulnerable than most people realize, and it is just a matter of time, a matter of when, not if, but when, before the next killer pandemic erupts. On Tuesday, the World Health Organization, the WHO, adopted a quote-unquote pandemic agreement that is supposed to help fight future pandemics. Nope. All right. You best believe, like Bill Gates has said in the past, something along the line that the next pandemic is going to get everyone's attention. No one is going to be able to ignore it. All right. And he said that with that evil scientist Edomite grin. Like he gets really excited when he's being interviewed about such topic. All right. So let's get some scriptures real quick. All right, that's part of biblical prophecies. There's going to be pandemics. Let's see. Matthew 24:7. Let me get that real quick. This is in red lettering. So our Lord YAHAWAHSHI is speaking, or he's prophesying. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation. Right? There will be race wars. Okay? All right. A nation is a people before it's a place, right? And we're seeing that happening now. And kingdom against kingdom. Countries against countries. Okay? And there shall be famines, right? And there's going to be extreme scarcity of food, resources, which is going to lead to many people starving to death and or committing cannibalism. People eating people just eating whatever or whoever they can find. And pestilences. Pestilences, Strong's G 3061. Loimas, a plague, literally the disease. Okay, so pestilence is another way of saying diseases. Okay, disease, Salakia, diseases. Okay, similar terms for pestilences too. Right, let's get into that real quick for edification purpose. Pestilence. You know, you get epidemic, pandemic, right? I want to look that up real quick. Pestilence, the noun. A fatal epidemic disease, especially bubonic plague. Let's get some similar terms real quick. Plague. And we went to that word plague. A contagious disease that spreads rapidly and kills many people. Bubonic plague, the Black Death, disease, contagious disease, contagion, infection, sickness. Here we go. Epidemic, pandemic. All right. So there will be quademics, pandemics, multiple events worldwide because of multiple, not just one, but multiple of diseases spreading that's deleting many people and animals, man. Okay? And pestilences and earthquakes, so-called natural disasters, storms, tempests, commotion of the people, right? So uproars of the people, rioting, insurrections, sedition among men in diverse places, many parts of the world. So worldwide, many parts of the world, there's going to be pestilences. There will be another pandemic. A killer pandemic to come, right? You best believe, you know, it's going to live to its saying, a killer pandemic. Many people will die from diseases coming. Let me get that real quick in Jeremiah 21:6. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 21, verse 6. And I will smite, meaning kill, the inhabitants of this city, both man and beasts, right? Man and animals, they shall die of a great pestilence, right? Pestilences that's far beyond the normal average intensity, all right? Great pestilences, diseases that's even incurable. No amount of mad wisdom and knowledge of man that can like put together the V word, right? Or to say a cure, to cure the wicked, right? Of the pestilences, man. It's going to take a miracle, divine intervention from Yahawashi. Okay, incurable pestilences, man. Okay, let me get something right quick. Let's go to Bible Gateway real quick. Deuteronomy. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 60 and 61, the G and T. He will bring on you once again. Bring on who once again? Rebellious Israelites. He will bring on you once again all the dreadful diseases you experienced in Egypt, and you will never recover. He will also send all kinds of diseases and epidemics that are not mentioned in this book of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI's laws and teachings, and you will be destroyed. So a lot of Israelites who refuse to turn back to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, men, women, children, young, old, of the 12 tribes, are going to also experience diseases, epidemics that's not known to the history of mankind, known to medical science. Diseases that's completely brand new. Whether the Lord is going to use his sword, which is the wicked, to create and then release some shape, way, and form, release these pestilences, these biohazard weapons upon the people, and or a pestilence that's made directly from our power without even using his sword, the wicked. Something completely brand new, man. It's not man-made. It's divinely made. All right. He will also send all kinds of diseases and epidemics, right? Also pandemics that are not mentioned in this book, right? The Holy Bible. In this book of Yahawah BAHASHAM's laws and teachings, and you will be destroyed. A lot of Israelites are about to be destroyed by incurable, deadly diseases that's not known to mankind. That's not written in the Holy Bible. It's not known to quote-unquote medical science. Okay? And while all of that is going on, you best believe there's going to be quarantines taking place out here real soon. Isaiah 24:10. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 10. The city of confusion is broken down. The city of confusion is America, because America is Babylon. Babal in Hebrew, Babal meaning confusion by mixture. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. Why is that? Because of quarantines. All right, let's go into that word, quarantine. Let's see. We'll get the first one, and I'm gonna get the verb at the bottom. So the top, the noun, a state, period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that may have been exposed to infectious diseases are placed. Now the verb, place a person or animal in quarantine in order to prevent the spread of an infectious disease, right? So a quarantine, right? There's going to come a time where there's going to be unrighteous decrees mandated upon all of us to restrict everyone's movements, people, animals, even cargo ships, okay, to prevent the spread of pestilences, right? There's going to be multiple diseases out here spreading, diseases that's made by the hands of wicked men, and pestilences that's divinely made from Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. And you best believe these diseases will not be able to be cured, conquered, triumphed by man's wisdom. Okay, so yeah, see, you know how like in those movies that has like CDC involved, where like you got people wearing biohazard suits and people being isolated from their loved ones, from people, from animals, and from people in general, right? Because there's diseases spreading. That's about to be a real thing, man. That's about to be the norm. Okay, that's about to be the norm. Let's see. All right, and then in this article, right, it caught my attention. Something caught my attention about this article. Let me go back real quick. Let's see. Let me see. Bear with me. Hold on. All right. So I'm going to read it again. In secret labs all over the planet, and the brother and I be talking about this a lot. The brother 𝐤𝐄𝐅𝐄 and I, and if I'm not mistaken, he did a lesson today related to pestilence, how, you know, and even these movies would tell on themselves. Whenever a newly created creature, some kind of pestilence, something is spreading upon the people and is killing them, right? Usually it is a failed experiment, an abomination that was created from these space stations that's up in the heavens, and they'll drop them off on planet Earth, let them run havoc and cause chaos upon the people. Let the pestilence spread. If they don't come from above, they're underneath us. You best believe this organization, there's a lot more going on underneath us. And I remember one time the brother and I was talking, you know, and I mentioned something through the spirit. It just hit me in the spirit. I'm like, yo, what if these upcoming T attacks, right, are going to be biohazard related? You know, the brother and I, we just talking, shooting the shits, you know, like, yo, what if, the next upcoming T attacks that's going to cause a significant change to society, a paradigm shift, that catalyst, right? You're going to have a lot of these worst of the heathens that came over here to America, who are actually terrorists, right? What if their purpose, their mission, their assignment is going to be to release, and not just one, multiple, release, detonate biohazard related pestilence that can literally not just kill many people and animals, but on some Resident Evil shit, spread like a T virus biohazard type of pestilence, where now you got people out here turning into nemesis and the liquors, and, you know, just completely transforming into something new. All right, and let's not forget about the people that's already walking around, that's still walking around us, that got the, you know, the V juice in them. Who knows what the hell is inside of them, right? So yeah, man, in secret labs all over the planet. In secret labs all over the planet, researchers are playing around with the deadliest diseases that humanity has ever known. In some cases, the goal is to make those diseases even more deadly and even easier to spread. If a terrorist organization or one of our enemies really wanted to create complete and utter chaos in our society, releasing a weaponized disease in a heavy populated area, so like your downtowns, you know, cities, major cities, right? Let's see. In heavy populated area would be one of the easiest ways to do that. A bomb could kill hundreds or even thousands of people, but a highly infectious pestilence could spread like a wildfire all over the country and potentially kill millions of Americans. If you believe that the Iranians, the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese, and radical Islamic terror groups all over the world would never do such a thing because they are such decent people, you have a much higher view of humanity than I do. All right, let's see. Of course, it wouldn't necessarily take a large organization to pull off such an attack. These days, just a handful of people could cook something up and release it into our society if they knew what they were doing. Okay, we have seen extraordinary advancements in the field of biotechnology over the past several decades. Experiments that once took enormous resources to pull off can now be conducted by a group of college kids working in a basement. So what came to mind, let's see, I will send the words to the heathens here. Let me get this. Ezekiel, bear with me. Okay, that's why we must remain vigilant, right? All right, we're not paranoid. We just be prudent because we understand through the Spirit that we are living in a time of war and hate. And that is an act of war if you think about it. Another nation of people come to your nation, to your land, and release a weaponized disease. All right? So we must be vigilant out here, especially that one brother. I can't remember who it was, but the brother shared, he did a lesson on a dream that, in the best of my remembrance, he mentioned something like it looked like it took place during the beginning of a new year, and it's daylight, the typical Babylonian, rhythm, right? I think he was making his way to like a supermarket to get some grocery or something, and before you knew it, boom, paradigm shift, literally. Everything changed, and it was because of the cause of something pestilence. People were just starting to behave in brute beasts, just biting on each other, causing havoc. Everybody's in a state of confusion. It literally changed everything. Okay? So who knows, man? Could these weaponized diseases be done by the worst of the heathens, America's enemies, that's here in America, and conduct a terrorist attack that's biohazard related, if that makes sense? Let's see. I'm gonna get this in the KJV first. 7:24. Right. Here we go. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 23 and 24. And I'm also getting the Good News Translation. And then, Lord willing, I just close out. Lord willing, you are edified. You are edified. Verse 23, make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. So yeah, that's about to be the new norm out here in America. All right. Remember, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Right? People ain't gonna have no pity upon each other out here when people are hungry. All right. There's no more law and order out here in America. The people is abandoned by the government. People no longer trust the government. Right? People taking matters into their own hands. All right. Race wars, riot wars, there's all kind of wars going on. Right? This place about to be full of. This about to be literally the new norm out here, man. Full of bloody crimes and the cities being full of violence, man. And who's going to have it the worst in such realities that come to pass? The elderly, single women who can do bad all by themselves. Let's say the feminists, right? Females that's anti-men, and children, all right? Verse 24, wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. And I will also make the pomp, right, the confidence of the strong to cease, even America's military personnel today. Whether it's a National Regardless, a weekend warrior, part-time warrior, you know, a full-time Army, soldier, Marine, Navy, and you know, etc. Right? Your police officers, your average men out here, right? The Lord is about to make the pump of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. All right, let me get this in the G&T real quick. This is the Good News Translation. Everything is in confusion. Everything is in confusion. The land is full of murders, and the cities are full of violence, right? So just speaking as a man through the Spirit of YAHAWAHSHI, Lord willing, right? Within such crimes that's being committed by people here in America, you best believe it's going to be something biohazard related to, man. All right, anything is possible. All right, because it's going to be a time like never before. Okay, Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before, man. The day of the Lord is going to be a time like never before. The land is full of murders and the cities are full of violence. I will bring the most evil nations here, America for an example, and let them have your homes, your strongest men, right? The America's fighting force, all right? These American males, from military to law enforcement to, you know, the biggest, toughest, so-called baddest dude on the block in high school, college, you know, UFC fighters and etc., right? Your strongest men will lose their confidence when I let the nations profane the places where you worship. All right? You best believe that when all hell break loose here, the scriptures goes into it that even men shall be afraid. How much more the weaker vessel, the female? All right? So the point I want to get out of this is that within the crimes that's being committed by the murders, the most evil nations here, the worst of the heathens here, right? You best believe something biohazard, weaponized pestilences are going to be released upon the people, man, to cause a havoc out here, to delete many people. All right? That's why scripture says for us to be sober and be vigilant, Akim. All right? We must be sober and vigilant, calm, collected in the mind, so we can be able to make better, rational, wise decisions that can help us be strong at being vigilant, being aware, being ready for possible danger that can happen at any moment. Lord willing, the lesson was edifying, playing upon the tables, to the house of mourning, to the house of faith. All right. It says here, the WHO got their new pandemic treaty just in time for the great pestilences that are rapidly approaching. Lord willing, you was edified. Shalom.